Welcome back. Today we begin something special. I mean, every day with me is special, right? If you've watched my content before, you know I don't teach surface level real estate. I've never been interested in that shallow mass market version of this business. What I teach and what I practice is the real discipline of real estate investing. I do this and I educate because I love this industry. I love being a real estate investor. I also really hate seeing people who are passionate about real estate investing getting turned off because they were scammed by someone who's just selling them dreams wrapped around wet tissue paper. I'm tired of seeing all of the self-proclaimed gurus telling would-be investors that only they have the magic beans or the exclusive patented process for profiting in real estate, and the only way that they can access this is to attend their boot camp and buy all of their cheap AI-generated garbage that doesn't actually contain anything valid. If anyone is telling you they have a new way, a patented way, a strategy they created, they are lying to you. Do not believe them, scroll past them, and do not waste your money. I am never going to tell you that because I'm going to tell you one clear, honest truth regarding this matter. If it can be done, someone has already done it. Nobody found a better way. Nobody found a new way to invest in real estate that didn't previously exist. When you understand real estate and you know real estate and you think like a real estate investor, you can figure these things out for yourself. You do not need to buy somebody's program who's just selling you a bunch of hype. I guarantee you they are liars and you are going to be disappointed in what you get. That said, I want you to hear this very clearly about the real estate industry, the real estate investing industry. Real estate is not just a financial vehicle. Real estate is a philosophy. Real estate investing is a business. It is a discipline, a science, a craft. Real estate is the ultimate legacy wealth building tool. Those are all very, very heavy things to consider. Not to keep you out of real estate, but to consider. If you are going to involve yourself in something that is this serious, it is very important that you understand what you're getting into, because the same as you can make a lot of money and be very happy, this business can cost the people who don't know what they're doing a lot of money and make them very unhappy. Because there's a science to it. It is a business. It's a knowing that develops a skill set for being a great real estate investor. Once you truly understand the science behind it, the numbers behind it, you're never going to see money, opportunity, risk, or success the same way again. The strategy that I'm going to share with you on this episode is going to blow your mind. It is not a new strategy. It is not my creation. I didn't patent it. I have shared it with many other seasoned, successful real estate investors in the past, and even they had no idea. I mean, in the back of their head, they're like, yeah, but they never actually took the time to figure it out for themselves. That's how vast and broad this industry is. There can be people out there who are making millions of dollars as successful real estate investors and doing it for a long time, and then they come across something that they hadn't seen before, something that they didn't realize before, or a market that flew under their radar. Not because it's new, not because somebody just invented it, not because somebody patented it, but because there's so much to know and digest. And that is why it is so important to know what you're doing in an industry where money is so crucial. Now, the strategy that I'm going to give you today, I did use this strategy for years in one of the courses that I did, and it was one of the cores in my Guaranteed Millionaire education program. Through that Guaranteed Millionaire program, I taught a select number of investors how to invest in real estate, and I guaranteed them that if they did exactly what they learned in the program and they followed the strategy that we put forth in front of them, they followed those steps, they followed through, that they would be a real estate millionaire. And we set up time frames individually for each one of them based upon their comfort level. Every single person who participated in that program, every person became a millionaire in less time than they projected. Do you want to know what the guarantee was? I guaranteed them that they would become a millionaire if they did what they were taught, or I would give them $1 million. I didn't give anybody $1 million, and they were happy about not getting $1 million because everyone who participated in that program became a millionaire and in less time than they had projected. The strategy that we're going to discuss today was just one of the cores of that program, just one of the strategies that we shared in that program. The participants in that program all exceeded $1 million in real estate income in 3 years or less. Now, I want to let that set in for a second, okay? This wasn't $1 million worth of asset. This was $1 million of cash flow coming in from their real estate portfolio, all in 3 years or less. That's $1 million in your pocket every single year and growing from following this strategy. Now, I want to make a couple of things clear here real quick. I'm going to lay out that strategy, but we're going to use very simple, very basic numbers based on very easily attainable real estate returns. We're not going to use big numbers. We're going to use very simple numbers. In fact, we're going to start with $50,000. This is this is that exact strategy, that same one of many that we used in Guaranteed Millionaire. The program, the numbers, the time frame, what we're using is going to be different, but the results are going to be the same. The strategy is the same. And I'm not bragging, but I want you to know, and I want you to be confident that when I tell you about these strategies and when we talk here in these episodes and about being a real estate investor, that it comes from hands-on experience, not just my own success, but also success in helping others achieve their own significant successes as real estate investors. Before we dive into the numbers on this strategy, before we talk about turning just $50,000 into a multi-million-dollar wealth, we have to begin with your mindset, because the truth is the strategy doesn't work. Real estate investing doesn't work if the mind running the strategies is stuck in scarcity mode. I want you to start thinking like an investor. Now, we're going to cover funding in other episodes. We're not going to cover that today, but I promise we will cover it in other episodes. I do want to give you something that is very simple for you to think about that's going to help you push a little closer to the right mindset and being open to all of this. I want you to think, if you had a great investment, one that was going to earn you money, one that you've run the numbers on, you know that you've got cash coming out of this thing if you buy it. Do you think you could probably find a way to get that deal funded? Do you think that even if you had to go to the bank to get a loan, partner with a money person, find anything, do you think you could find the money for it? I guarantee you could. I promise you, if you have a high performing or even just a reasonably performing deal that you can make, you can find a way to fund that. It is easy. And the more you unlock your brain in all of this, when you start thinking like a real estate investor, you're going to understand that. But I want you to go into this knowing that money to fund these deals is not going to be an issue. It never is. All you have to know is how to do it and which creative strategy you're going to take. And we're going to talk about that more again, like I said, in some other episodes. Keeping that in mind, though, I want you to start unlocking that investor identity that is inside of you. No limits. The one that thinks with surgical precision, the one that acts with confidence and sees opportunity where others only see confusion. See, your conscious mind learns facts, but your subconscious mind adopts identity. This is why the most successful real estate investors, we think differently. We see leverage as power, not risk. We view money as a tool, not a goal. We understand that education creates certainty. Think about it. If you've learned that 1 and 2 is 3, every single time 1 and 2 is going to be 3. That is the kind of precision that we have when we're dealing with real estate, because we work with numbers. Numbers are always the same. There's variables that can affect those numbers, but if we know what numbers we need to plug in, we have I don't even know what the statistic is. It's not 100%. It's probably not 99%, but it's probably close to 85 to 90% certainty. If we know what we're doing, okay, that we're looking at a successful investment. It's because we understand that education creates certainty. We know that the right decision at the right moment can alter our financial timeline. It can alter our entire lives. It can drastically change them for the better. There are deals that you can get into with $100,000 and walk out with over $1 million cash profit. This is important because now you're operating in that world. We are talking about an entirely different world from what you've probably been used to. I want you thinking like a serious investor. And right now, you're being guided by someone who's been inside of that arena at the highest levels. I've spent years refining what works, eliminating what doesn't for my own benefit, and designing and providing training to others for their benefit. Education that gives them mastery, not just good motivation, not just selling hype, not just making them feel good about something, and then when they get home and actually start reading what they bought, realizing that it's worthless. I know, and I say this with absolute conviction, knowledge is power. I'm not talking about the cliche version of knowledge or the cliche version of power for that matter. I'm talking about the actionable version. The kind of knowledge that removes fear. It eliminates confusion. It installs clarity so deeply in your mind that hesitation no longer exists. I want you to think Neo in the Matrix when he was able to read the code faster than it was being generated. That kind of knowledge and ability. That is the exact reason why everything I do, everything I create, every program, every course, every training, every book that I've written is designed with that level of obsession. It's to provide the most precise, most usable, most comprehensive and complete education possible. And I'm going to say this once, and I'm going to let it sit in your mind. The Heritage Real Estate Masters course that I am currently creating right now is going to be the most comprehensive, surgically precise, PhD level real estate investor training ever created. Now, don't ask me where you can sign up because I am not done building it yet. And I don't want you to wait until I have finished with that course and made it available or that you've taken it for you to get started. What I do want you to do is keep coming back, watching these videos and watching other videos, not buying into the hype, but getting a real education. So let that live somewhere in your awareness as we move forward. What you learn here is going to prepare you for, and it's going to be part of what's coming later for you as you become a professionally educated, professional real estate investor. Whether this is your first episode with me or your 100th, whether you've invested before or you're brand new, for the rest of this video, I want you to think like a high-level investor. Not someday, not eventually, right now, change your mindset. Tell yourself, I am a high-level real estate investor. I'm going to take in what Kevin is saying right now from that standpoint because I'm going to use it to profit largely, or as Donald Trump would say, bigly in this industry. And Donald Trump is a real estate investor. Like him, don't like him. He is a successful real estate investor. Now, to help you out with that just a little bit more, let's install these following thinking patterns, okay? As a real estate investor, you're not going to chase deals. You're going to build frameworks. You're not going to look for quick wins. You're going to build systems that produce outcomes repeatedly. You're not guessing, you're calculating. You run the numbers, and if they make sense, you act. And if they don't, you move on. You stop wasting your time. You don't hope, you design. You put the pieces together to make things happen. Every major investor I've ever worked with, ever, whether I've coached them, partnered with them, mentored them, whatever it was, interviewed them, they all share one thing in common. They all think and operate in models, not moments. I want you to think about that. Models, structures, not physical building structures. I'm talking about financial models, business models, okay? We all operate in models, not moments. We don't let emotion guide us. That is the shift I want to make for you. That is the shift I want you to have in your mindset right now. When we talk about compounding today, which is what we're going to talk about later on, we're not just talking about math. We're talking about models that affect your financial life with precision. Also, I want you to think about something else. When you understand the models, you're able to put them together like modules. You're able to model your entire financial destiny, your future, your goals. Now, everything doesn't exactly fall into place exactly the way you want it, but if you're doing it correctly, if you're doing it the right way, for the most part, it will. I promise you, it will. Most people, they fail to build wealth for 3 reasons. They don't understand the time dimension of money. They underestimate the exponential growth potential that money has, and they don't feel it. They assume linear results in an exponential world. So, first reason why they fail to build wealth is they don't understand the time dimension of money. Second, they don't know how to leverage safely. Leverage isn't dangerous. Ignorance while using leverage is very dangerous. Third, they don't get a real education. They learn fragments, never the entire system. They learn tactics, but never the strategy. I'm here not to teach you the fragments. I'm here to teach you the entire architecture. I want to instill something in your mind right now. You're watching this video because you're interested in real estate, but I don't want you watching this video because you want to dabble. You're not here because you want to try real estate. You're here with me right now to become a master real estate investor, and I'm going to do everything I can to give you that knowledge to help push you in that direction. Whether you're a new investor or a seasoned investor, I hope that what I am telling you today is going to sink in and it's going to be to your benefit. I want you to be an investor who moves deliberately, thinks ahead, knows the numbers, understands the psychology of the market, understand the psychology of the deals. I want you to use leverage with elegance. I want you to build performing portfolios. I want you to do that methodically using the models that you're going to learn over time and over practice. You're going to control millions of dollars in assets with calm certainty because you know what you're doing. And for that reason, your subconscious needs one instruction. It needs to know and accept just one thing right now. I belong in this space. Say that to yourself. Say it with me. I belong in this space, because you do. Right now, right here, you're learning from me, from someone who has mastered this craft. And right now, you're stepping into a way of thinking that produces results that ordinary investors cannot even begin to comprehend. This video is going to set that foundation for you. So now that your mind is in the right place, we're going to talk about the strategy that we opened this video with, not the tactics, not the hyped up little hacks that those wannabes talk about online, not the superficial stuff. We're going to be real. We're going to look at mind-blowing strategies throughout this series that you're going to get step by step. And you don't have to buy any program or take my boot camp. All you have to do is pay attention. We're going to look at a strategy that builds empires. For example, what we're going to use here, a strategy that starts with just $50,000 and ends with millions, can change your life. Now, can you change the numbers? Do you have to have $50,000? Can you invest more than $50,000? Absolutely, and it will work quicker and greater. Can you invest less than $50,000? Absolutely. Just understand that it's going to take longer, but it will still work the same way no matter the amount you invest in it. It will still be the same strategy. As I said earlier, only the numbers have changed. This is a strategy that doesn't depend on luck, timing, or market conditions. It is a strategy that works simply because math works. A strategy that the wealthy use and for generations have been using every single day, whether they talk about it publicly or not. Now, I do want to interject something here really quick. I told you this is one of the strategies that we taught in the Guaranteed Millionaire program. This is one of the strategies that our millionaires used. This was not the only strategy that made them millionaires. This is a strategy that is better over time. And again, the more money you put into it and the better returns you get out of it, the better it's going to be for you. But I don't want you to think this was the only strategy that our millionaires use. And that just popped into my head, or I would have brought it up earlier. This is where we're going to shift the conversation from mindset to mechanics. And when you've got both of those working together in your head, that's when wealth becomes inevitable. When I look back over the last 3 decades, 3 decades is what we're going to say. It's over a little over 3 decades, but my real estate journey over the last 3 decades, there's one truth that stands out above all others, and that is that mastery in anything isn't an accident. Success doesn't show up for the unprepared. It doesn't show up for the uninformed or the unfocused. It reveals itself to those who commit to understanding the game at a deeper level for everyone else. Now, I want you to think about that for a second, because it's not just real estate. It is anything at all that is going to be done well. I have taken the money that I've made from real estate, I've taken knowledge that I've gained from investing, and I've applied it to other businesses. I've purchased businesses that I was interested in and didn't know a whole lot and was hands off. I just made sure that the right people were there. The people who had an education and the people who knew what they were doing. So I stay in my lane and they stay in their lane, but I'm able to use my profits from real estate to invest in other things other than real estate. Do I love real estate? Is it still my favorite? Absolutely. But is it cool having things like clothing labels? Is it cool having a publishing company? Is it cool having different types of businesses and investments? It absolutely is. Do they make money? They absolutely do. Do they make the same money as real estate? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe some of them do. The other thing is it's diversification. Now, real estate, if you've watched any of my other videos, a lot of times we talk about how solid real estate is. As long as there are people, they're going to need a place to live. They're going to need a place to eat and drink and meet and work. So real estate is not going to go out of style. It's not going to go out of fashion. It's not going to go out of demand. Even in communist countries, they need real estate. Real estate rewards the thinker. It rewards the strategist. It rewards the individual who refuses to rely on luck, as does any other industry. The more you know, the better you are, the better you're going to do. Real estate is no different. So don't look at it as a hobby. Don't look at it as a sideline thing that you only need to know a little bit about. You need to know everything about this, because you can make significantly more than what you're making from your regular job doing real estate. That's why you're interested in it, because of the money that it can bring you, because of the financial freedom and security it can provide to you and your family. Now, that's why I've spent my entire career not just succeeding in real estate, but studying why certain investors rise above all the noise, all the hype, and others stay trapped at the level of hobbyist. People often tell me, Kevin, the way you break things down, it feels like you're showing me the source code of real estate. And that's great. And that's kind of where I got that whole matrix reference that we talked about earlier. In many ways, that's exactly what it is. That is exactly what I'm trying to do. Real estate is not random. It's structured. It's predictable wealth. There is a building system that you can put together with mathematical precision once you know how to see it. Knowledge is power, but only when it's the right knowledge that's applicable and delivered in the right way. That is the key that most people miss. Most investors, they learn in fragments. They grab onto little bits and pieces that sound great to them, maybe from a pitch they heard or a conversation they overheard, but just bits and pieces, not the whole strategy. Because they only have bits and pieces, they have scattered tactics, half understood strategies. They end up with the enthusiasm and the excitement, but no real architecture for their plan. Remember, we're thinking in and acting on models. Architecture is everything. It's the absolute difference between wandering blindly in the desert and operating with surgical precision in the operating room. It's the difference between guessing and knowing. It's the reason every training I ever created, including this one, was designed to replace confusion with clarity, being overwhelmed with understanding structure, and negating fear with confidence. I'm using that very same philosophy in everything that I do, including the Heritage Real Estate Masters program that I'm building right now. It's not going to be just another disappointing, empty course. I've never built a training like that, and I'm not going to start now. For this course, I wanted to build the most comprehensive course ever created, a complete framework, a full system, everything real estate investing, not just the hype, not just the trends, not just the things that grab attention, but literally everything. I'm creating something worthy of being called a PhD level real estate investing program. It's not a figurative sense. It is literally, in terms of depth, structure, and mastery, a PhD level real estate education. And I gotta tell you, I'm pretty proud of it. Now, I'm sorry to get off track here, but it's because before we get into advanced strategies, negotiations, analytics, deal engineering, or wealth strategies, we need something far more important in place, and that's a foundation, a mental model, a way of thinking that separates you from the masses. And that's why my brain keeps going back to education, because when you think like a high-level investor, you have the knowledge of a high-level investor. You can easily develop the skill sets of a professional, top-level real estate investor. When you can do this, everything else becomes easy. The deals get clearer, the risks become identifiable, and the opportunities begin to reveal themselves. It is where true power comes from, not from hype, not from motivation, but from education that gives you the understanding that you need in this industry to be successful. That is why in this video, I'm not just teaching you what to do. I'm teaching you how to think, how to evaluate, how to decide, and ultimately how to win. Quietly, repeatedly, predictably. That's the difference between an investor who dabbles and an investor like you're going to be who dominates. Every successful investor reaches a moment where the path forward becomes unmistakably clear. You cannot build an extraordinary life with an ordinary identity. Your results will always rise or fall to the level of your own self-concept. Many people in real estate see themselves as beginners, dabblers, or part-time hopefuls. They want big league returns, but they approach the game with little energy, and that's why they get stuck. The investors who break through, the ones who rise above the noise, who share one common transformation, at some point they adopt the identity of a professional because that's who they've become, a strategist, a master of the craft, because that is what they are. It may start quietly, it may begin with a single insight or a single deal, but eventually that shift occurs. Something inside of them says, I am no longer guessing. I am no longer playing small. I know what I'm doing. I belong here. I'm hoping that the information that we're providing today is going to start that mind shift in your head if it hasn't already from something else. Identity shapes decisions. Decisions shape behavior. Behavior shapes outcomes, and outcomes shape destiny. This is why I've always emphasized the mindset, not as some motivational fluff, but as a psychological necessity. The strongest strategies in the world are useless if the person applying them sees themselves as unqualified, uncertain, or undeserving of greatness. Now, you may not know this, but something else that I'm pretty proud of is a life-changing program that I created that's called EmpowerX. Like real estate, I've written a lot of books on the power of changing your life and how it is up to you as an individual to make that decision, initiate that change, and see it through. EmpowerX shows you how to find that alignment with who you are, your purpose in this life, and then it provides you with the tools and education to live that life. I have the book actually right here because I've got a podcast interview that I'm doing later on today with somebody else. This is the book that I've written on EmpowerX. If you check my Amazon, you'll see a lot of books that I've written on real estate. Those are great resources, and I highly recommend them. Not just because I wrote them, because, like I said, I put everything into them that I think you're going to need to be successful. So I bring a lot of that same psychology that I did with EmpowerX to real estate investing and to teaching real estate investing. So if this sounds coachy and more like a conversation with your life coach, that's probably the reason why. If you look at every program I've created over the years, you're going to notice something subtle but intentional. I don't just teach tactics. I try to engineer a shift in the mindset of how everyone sees themselves, the people who are taking the program, how they see others, and how they see the life that they want, and how they see themselves as an investor, whatever it is that they decide they want to be. I've always believed that once you upgrade your mindset and your identity, the actions are going to follow effortlessly. That's because I believe in being aligned with your purpose, and EmpowerX goes into that a lot more. We're going to get away from that. Check out the book if you want. It is on my Amazon. It's also on Barnes & Nobles, and you can also pick it up at bookstores. That philosophy, those psychologies are also at the core of the Heritage Real Estate Masters program that I'm creating. It isn't just informational training. It's a recalibration, a restructuring of how you need to think, what you need to notice, and how you're going to make the right decisions, how you're going to have the information to know that you're making the right decisions. Students who will complete it won't leave the same person they were when they started. That's because I believe that the transformations that we're going to teach them how to make in their lives is what sets real investors apart from those who simply wish for the success. I believe that providing those mindset skills there or here provide an understanding of how our minds work and how they will allow us, even force us to be successful real estate investors. Once that happens, once that shift happens in your mind, you simply can't lose. We'll maybe talk about that a little bit more, but right now, what matters is this. I don't want you to be here to be average. You're not listening to me just to go out and repeat the cycle of trial and error. You're here to elevate. You're here to learn, to think differently, to operate differently, to rise into the identity of an investor who deserves to win. And as we move through this video, you're going to notice something interesting happening. Concepts are going to start making sense in a way that they've never made sense to you before. Patterns will appear where before there was only noise. Your confidence is going to grow, and not because of hype, but because of clarity of mind, clarity of vision. That's what's happening when your identity begins to align with your potential. And that alignment is where power begins. By now, you should be able to see some of the patterns. If I've done my job right, you've started to feel the shift. Something inside of you is settling into a new way of thinking, a way of seeing the world that the majority of people never even glimpse. And that shift you're feeling is your investor identity coming online. Now, let me be clear. This isn't about ego. This definitely isn't about pretending to be something that you are not. This is about aligning your inner self with the reality of what is possible, preparing yourself for your potential. Most people approach real estate with fear. They doubt themselves, they second guess, they procrastinate, they look for permission to succeed and give themselves permission to fail. The elite investors, they don't. They act with quiet authority because their mind is trained to recognize opportunity, to calculate risk and benefits, and act decisively. They know what to do before everyone else knows it exists. That knowledge flows naturally because their identity supports it. At the core of who they are an investor. This is why identity is the most powerful wealth building tool, because you believe you are. What you believe shapes what you allow yourself to accomplish. It defines how you respond to challenges. It dictates whether you persevere or quit. It determines whether you accumulate assets or remain stuck chasing cash flow that disappears as fast as it comes. Think about it for a second. If you know in your heart of hearts, if you know in your mind that you are a real estate investor, that you have the knowledge and the ability to do successful real estate deals, nothing is going to stop you from doing that. It's literally, you're a bull fighting to get out of that pen so that you can let your investor greatness be unleashed on the world. There's a subtle truth, and I want you to feel it. I hope you feel it right now. You belong here. You are a real estate investor. Even if you have not invested in real estate yet, if you intend to invest in real estate, if you intend to take this knowledge that I'm giving you in this video and others, in courses that you've taken, if you intend to do something with it, and sooner than later, I'm going to tell you, sooner than later, don't procrastinate, then you belong here. You are a real estate investor. So even if you're just starting out, even if you've never closed a deal before, even if this feels like a new world, your mind can be operating like a master real estate investor. All it needs is training, exposure, and repetition. And that's what I'm here for. That's what you're here for. That's what every serious, legitimate real estate program, every real mentorship, every advanced strategy is designed to do. It is designed to condition your thinking so that your actions naturally align with the results you desire. When your identity aligns with mastery, decisions become effortless, confidence becomes automatic, opportunities appear before your eyes, risk is measured, calculated, and optimized, compounding wealth becomes inevitable. This is the core of what I want to teach. This is the core of what I want you to understand, not just the strategies, but the alignment of thinking, acting, and earning to your highest professional standard. Now, let it sink in. Your subconscious mind is listening. It's absorbing the authority, the competence, the precision that you are learning to emulate. Over time, these thought patterns, they become automatic. They guide your decisions. They prime your success. They anchor you in the reality where wealth is a natural outcome. Not a wish, not a gamble, but a certainty that arises from consistent, disciplined action. And that is the secret most people never realize. They'll never realize it, whether it's this industry or others. This is what keeps small people small. Because success isn't about luck. It isn't about timing. It isn't about working harder than everyone else. It is about becoming the person who naturally produces wealth and training your mind to operate at that level every single day. Now, I'm not trying to tell you this is mind voodoo or anything else. I'm saying there are very real things you need to learn about investing in real estate. Once you have done that, and once you have prepared your mind to be the real estate investor that's going to take advantage of those things that you have learned, you are that natural aligned person to be a real estate investor. This is that first step towards that transformation. And now, with your identity beginning to align, it's time to explore the mechanics of compounding, the silent wealth engine that multiplies your money while your mastery grows. This is one of the first strategies you should put into place while you are working on all of your others. So now that your mindset and investor identity are shifting, hopefully they're falling into place, it's time to move into the practical side, the part that turns vision into real results. Let's start with the simple foundation. Imagine you have $50,000 to invest. Nothing more. It's not a huge amount. It's just $50,000. Can you come up with $50,000? For most of you, the answer is probably yes. We're not going to cover it in this episode, but can you tap into your IRA? Absolutely. Can you tap into your 401k? Absolutely. Can you do that without penalties? Absolutely. Can you go get a loan, a HELOC, a line of credit for $50,000? Yes. Most people can get a signature loan for $50,000. So $50,000 is not a lot to start off with. And here's the thing. The strategies that we're going to discuss today in this video and other days, they don't rely on luck. They rely on discipline, intelligence, and knowing what you're doing. This is a hard, fast rule of the universe, and it is the power of compounding, the strategy that we're going to talk about today. Compounding is simple in principle, but it is a devastatingly powerful effect. Every dollar you invest can generate returns. We already know that. Every return, if reinvested, generates its own returns. So in simple language, actually not simple because it's more drawn out, simple language, the money that your dollar earns, if you keep earning money on that money that your dollar earns, you're compounding what you're earning. You're compounding your profits. And the same as your credit card company and your car loan company and your house loan company or bank or whatever it is you have is making that money on your interest, which we have, it's compounding interest. The same way we could be making profit. So we're paying compounding interest on those loans, but those loan banks, agencies, whatever it is, they're making money on a compounding basis. We are taking that same process and we're applying it to our real estate investing strategy. So I'm going to run the numbers because I think when you hear these numbers, it's going to blow your mind, because numbers tell the story better than words alone, and numbers don't lie. They are always going to be the exact same.